What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, Caleb Plant versus Anthony Dirrell. I'm watching the press conference, and it's the first and only thing I've seen about those two up into this point. Just that and the little interviews outside of. So the build up to it, as far as anything outside of that, I didn't hear because you know Caleb Plant pointed out to Anthony Dirrell that I guess he made a comment about saying I never let a white boy beat me or whatever, because he brought that up there. You remember Bernard Hopkins said the same thing about Joe Calzaghe. You see what happened, right? So, I mean, when you're saying this, and so I guess that was something maybe he did on Twitter or whatever. Because to be honest with you, I didn't even know these two were going to fight. And then I started to, I'm just looking what's going on to see what's going on in boxing. So we are, I'm listening to both guys talk, and Anthony Dirrell is talking greasy. Okay. So I don't know how much you guys really remember about, you know, this trash talk and how it backfires a lot most of the time. Okay. This type of talk. There's no actual rivalry here. Okay. Anthony Dirrell is bringing up saying that they were supposed to fight before, and then Caleb Plant ducked them and everything other than the fight itself. And usually, when fighters do that, it's a lot of nervous energy, and they try to camouflage it. He's laughing at things that Caleb Plant is saying and shaking his head and like ridiculing him. But Caleb Plant, cool, calm, collective, not worrying about what he's saying. He's saying he hates him and all of this, and nobody likes him, and like everything, nothing he's saying has anything to do with the fight. The only thing he's saying is he's going to beat his ass, and But when you pretend there's a beef, when fighters feel like they need that to motivate them to tell yourself something about a person that I hate this person, I can't stand this person, no rhyme or reason, I just hate this person. And then, why do you hate him? He's an asshole. What do you mean? So Caleb Plant is saying people in his division might not like him because he don't hold hands with them, and pretty much socialize with them and spend time around them outside of training in boxing. He really doesn't associate with them. Why do I care if they like me or not? We're here to fight. I agree wholeheartedly, man. I don't have to dislike you to punch you in the face, okay? But I feel the same way. You guys are trying to play nice with each other to the point where some guys won't fight a guy because he's my same countryman. Some guys won't fight. Oh, we became friends over the past month. Oh, it's always something. Like I said, so if we're gonna do that same countryman nonsense, then Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford have no business fighting each other. Why should they fight each other? They're two black men. They shouldn't fight, right? So this is what we're gonna this is what we're doing now. I don't want to fight my countrymen. So I mean, what if everybody felt like that? Then what? Where would the state of boxing be? Okay. So, anyways, back to regularly scheduled programming. Anthony Dirrell better win this fight. After all this shit he's talking, he's 38 years old. Caleb Plant just turned 30, and basically, Anthony Dirrell has shown durability and that he still can go in there and compete and put on a good show. But at the same time, this is a fight that if he pretty much loses this fight, what's next for Anthony Dirrell at 38? If he loses a close fight and it's competitive, that can be one thing. If he gets knocked out or gets pretty much just get outclassed and destroyed in there, just can't keep up, and it's like a whitewash, I mean, then that pretty much puts him in a position of, okay, when you become a journeyman, people don't understand something about a journeyman. They think that a journeyman has to lose every fight by just being destroyed. When you can't not compete with the elite guys anymore, you can't get the win, then it becomes a point of, okay, If 3 years ago you were able to, but now you can't, that was 3 years ago. Well, what are you doing now? This is what people have to understand. So he better win this fight, the kind of stuff he's talking. And basically, when there's no material there, let me just make up something to say about this guy. Like Cambosis calling Devin Haney a rat, and you heard him say, you remember when they were talking after the fight, and Bill asked him, where'd you get the rat thing from? What did George say? I just made that up. Exactly. And usually that type of stuff backfired. Look at George Cambosos. That type of stuff backfires. I've seen people got a lot of mouth and then they go in and win. But this type of stuff, usually it backfires because, again, there's no actual material there. And aside from you just training for a fight, despite saying it's just another fight to me, I approach it the same way. You feel like you need that edge, that anger. You need to fire yourself up in order to do the things the way that you feel like you need to really do it and you want to do it. Because even Caleb saying, I mean, I don't know him. Why does he hate me? I don't know. He don't know me. We've never hung out or anything outside of, so like, what, I don't know where this is coming from. This is what fighters do, like I said, to pump themselves up. Javon Sugarhill is sitting next to Anthony Dirrell. He's not really showing any emotion at all. He's just, there. And he just speaks positively about the fight itself. He gives props to Caleb Plant and to Anthony Dirrell. But it's one of those things, and the same thing. Nobody, on Caleb's side is jumping in and insulting and going back and forth. It's just the two of these guys. And pretty much when I watch this, it's just like when guys do that, then at the end of the fight, they shake hands, and then it's like, good fight, or whatever. Yeah, I was just saying, that's just something other people do. I don't get it. As far as like, I understand why people do it. I just can't relate to it because, again, you have a job to do. So if I have to come in there and punch you in your face, break your ribs or whatever, well, so be it. It's just business, not personal. If it's personal, we're not shaking hands at the end of the fight for the most part. We're not going to hug and embrace. It's middle fingers to you. We had a job to do. I don't like you. You don't like me. 3, we don't like each other. So, you understand? And, people say out of good sportsmanship. Well, good sportsmanship starts before the fight. You're not going to call me a pussy, a bitch, all that type of stuff. And then, I just said that. I don't have sensitive skin like that because I know who and what I am. And then if you call me a bitch and a pussy, then I knock you the fuck out. You know how bad that makes you look. But at the same time, people have common sense to know when they see a real deal fighter. So, I just feel like those antics are like childish. Canelo slapped you. You let another man slap you. Blah, 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 blah. And then, like, what does that have to do with you and Caleb, though? Yeah, Canelo threw a slap. He swung back, and we know what happened. This was at a face-off. And basically, Caleb standing there with his hands behind his back with shades on. And Canelo took a swing at him. But at the same time, that's Canelo and Caleb. Okay? You and Caleb is a whole different story. And, that stuff has nothing to do with what's going on now. So I'm watching a lot of people find this shit entertaining. I don't. I'm just like, there's nothing to say about the actual fight. Just a lot of talk about nothing. So, when you talk greasy like that, and you walk away with a loss, it's only going to last for so long when people keep talking about who they fought and what they've done in the past. And if this is your means of motivation to get yourself up for a fight now, it's uphill because all of this extra, it's a psych job they did it on for themselves to make themselves feel more comfortable about what they're doing. I told you guys before, Caleb Plant is a good fighter, man. He's not a bullshit fighter. He lost to Canelo because Canelo's the better fighter. It's just as simple as that. And, he was in the fight. He was holding his own. And, Anthony Dirrell is saying he's going to run. All he's going to do is run. You ain't never seen him fight toe-to-toe with nobody. All he do is run. That's not your concern, how he fights. Your job is to nullify what he's doing. So if you know he's going to run, then you should be working on cutting the ring off and making him fight more than he wants, right? When a person when they have a style that is going to be difficult for you to get off the way you want to, this is why they say that. They're already, before the fight even starts, he's hoping that he can talk him out of not fighting his fight and fighting in a way where it gives him more of a chance to marshal his efforts. But at the same time, I mean, who's really that stupid? Well, some fighters are, but who's really? I mean, more than likely, Caleb Plant is smart enough to know, nah, I'm not going to fight your fight. I'm going to fight my fight. If I want to stand toe to toe with you, it's going to be on my terms and I'm ready to do it. If I want to move, get on my toes, is when I'm ready to do it. Whatever you need to do to win the fight, that's what it comes down to. So, again, like these little antics, man, and stuff, like it's just childish talk to me. You understand what I mean? So it's not something, bringing up who you lost to, who did what to who, and Caleb shot back at him and told him about the guy that he beat for his title. Like, yeah, he beat your brother up twice, so they're going back and forth. But more, like I said, overall, it comes down to you two. Now, Caleb is speaking about the fight. He's addressing things that, Anthony Dirrell is saying to him when they're going back and forth. But overall, it's like, my focus is on you. Not what happened in the past, who you fought, who I fought. This is about right now. What we're going to do October 15th. So, see how this goes. Again, for Anthony Dirrell, this is like a must win. And again, the type of thing where we see it with Derek Chisora. As long as his fights, even if he gets lose unanimously, but he basically was fighting back, because every unanimous decision isn't the same exact, rounds won, and the fight is not seen the same exact way, the same type of competitiveness. So finally, he got the decision against Pulev. But at the same time, it's like, again, at some point, and at the same age, 38 years old, at some point, you start to run out of options, where you're getting top fighters, and even if it becomes a point where you are someone with the name and have credibility, but you're not the same fighter anymore. Somebody will call you out because they feel like they're comfortable, that they're confident they can beat you, particularly you. So this could be the case. Caleb said he didn't want an easy fight. He wanted the best available option that he had out there to himself, and that happened to be Anthony Dirrell. So we'll see what Anthony has left in the tank come fight night. We'll see, if Caleb has improved. I mean, he was already a good fighter, but did he get better? And pretty much, anytime a guy beat you, you want to beat that guy. He gave Canelo props for being a good fighter. And it's like I tell everybody, just because you lose don't mean you're not a good fighter. For me, I just get turned off by all the fucking excuses. I don't want to hear nothing about 23, only being this, only being that. A guy like Wilfredo Benitez was 17 and won a fucking world championship, a fucking kid. But again, this soft-ass generation of people, the mindset of these fans, these fanboys, these fighters that sit up and make excuses. I wouldn't allow you to make excuses for me. And that's the cloth I'm cut from. I would not allow you to make excuses for me. Especially if I know I'm on point with my shit. But it just, his game plan just didn't work that day against that opponent. No. Especially when you fought other guys that had way more experience you the same way, and you beat them. So don't fucking say nothing about, but he had tough fight after tough. Well, that's what the fuck fighters are supposed to do. And if you want to be amongst the elite, see, you have fighters that's going to fight, and then you have fighters that want to fight amongst the elite. And if you want to be amongst the elite, then that's what you do. You don't become an elite fighter by fucking cherry picking and fighting guys that's lesser than you. You understand? So it's like this. If you want to be considered a B-class fighter, then you have to be the B-class fighter. And as you get experience, now you want to be seen as an A-class fighter, then you have to beat an A-class fighter. You don't go back to C and D. I can understand B and C, mix it back and forth, because sometimes you have B fighters that they might become an A fighter in one particular fight that, hey, he was better this time than he was last time. So guess what? He just stepped up his game. So we get it. And that's the whole point. You want to be competitive on the top of the food chain, not build up a name and then all of a sudden, now I'm just going to cherry pick from here on. And then, no, that's what elite fighters do. So all the excuses that people make, it's like, if you motherfuckers, let me tell you something about fans. If you were in a gym and I ain't talking about sitting on a fucking computer watching. I'm talking you were in the fucking gym, you'd understand that there's no favoritism in terms of, like, you have people who have favorite, like, fighters in there that they, but I mean, like, it's a war in the gym. You got to come at that motherfucker mentally strong and ready. All that fucking pity, is no pity in the gym. There's no fucking, oh yeah, you just had a bad day. Nah, what the fuck is you doing today, man? Come on, get your shit together. Get it up, man. Let's go. Let's go. That's what we here for. Let's work. You know, ain't no pity. Ain't no hugging you, rubbing your back. Oh, tomorrow I'll be a bit. No. Ain't no time for that soft shit in the gyms. Okay? The gym is the hardest part. The fight itself, that's what you train for. That's what the fuck you train for. The grueling training camps and getting you there, the conditioning, the mindset. So all this shit y'all talking, oh, man, he's only 23 years old, and yeah, of course, the camp is going to make them fucking excuses when they realize, oh, we have an excuse to make now. Okay, let's try to make that. No, but these fighters, look, the same way how you crying about a guy only being a certain age when other people his age have accomplished the same shit and more at that point. Okay, other than just winning fights. When you have a guy that's way past his prime, like right now, I'll give you an example. What did I just say about Anthony Dirrell? He's 38 now, right? Well, let's see what he has left. You have guys saying, yeah, man, but Derek Chisore's 38, so you got to understand, he's no spring chicken. You got to give the guy credit, man. Even if he cherry picks, he's 38. I've heard the same thing about Dirrell. Yeah, man, he's 38 years old. You got to understand it. No. When Floyd was 38 years old, y'all was talking about him going up to fight motherfucking light heavyweights and middleweights. Y'all wasn't giving Floyd that same fucking, in fairness to Floyd, y'all wasn't doing that shit for Floyd. You understand what I'm saying? When Muhammad Ali lost to Larry Holmes and then lost to Trevor Berbick, he was 38. You understand what I'm saying? What did y'all say? Yeah, but Ali was 38. Now we know what happened with Ali, with the Parkinson's and but the whole point, we didn't know that all the time, but still in all, my whole point, you handpick, you're selective with who gets a pass and who gets crucified. And that's just not the cloth that I'm cut from. And I'm not talking about no particular era of time. I'm talking the cloth I'm cut from, the mold I come from. You understand? We don't make excuses. You win, you lose. Simple. We don't come with this, yeah, man, but you got to understand, I'm only 23. And no. Because when you went in there, you was full of vigor and mouth and thought that you was going to beat the old man. And then all of a sudden, guess what? You lost. And like I said, other people get a pass when you don't. So we'll see how things go. And, Anthony Dirrell's not bringing up his age. And nobody else should. In terms of trying to make an excuse just in case he loses because he's 38. If he was younger, he'd beat kids. You guys love doing that shit. Well, it's a fight. He accepted the fight. And basically, you don't get in there and talk all this shit, then lose, and then all of a sudden, want to make up excuses as to why you lost. So, if he wins this fight, it's uphill for him because then there'll be another big fight for him. But at 38 years old and having losses already and basically being in a position of I can't lose again. Or if I do lose, like I said, it has to be where, this shit couldn't win either way. This dude, he fought. And the wear and tear on your body, every fight, like you can go on a fight right now. This fight can take a lot out of you. The very next fight, you look horrible. But according to your last fight, you went in there and left it all in the ring. You gave it your all. So that's things that people got to understand. And as far as Anthony Dirrell goes, him and his brother never became like superstars in boxing. They had the potential. I remember the first time I saw both of them fight, I'm like, yeah, these guys are good. And with all their accomplishments, it's like they just never got to the Andre Ward level. They never got to the Canelo level or a Bernard Hopkins or Roy Jones. They never got to that. I remember the criticism. Jim Lampley, Larry Merchant, all those guys saying that they didn't have crowd-pleasing styles. They said the same thing about Michael Nunn, who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Salute to Michael Nunn. But, they always said that. Julian Jackson was knocking people out, but Julian Jackson was very sloppy. If you remember Julian Jackson, early in his career, he was trying to box, get on his toes and move. He got beat. And most of his fights are not even televised. Julian Jackson started getting, some notoriety as far as TV exposure when he was like 30, 31. Like when that's when he started to get up get up to where people started to notice him. And Julian Jackson, yeah, he could punch, but he was one of those guys anxious to get the shot off, came in a straight line, no footwork, no real footwork, sloppy feet, wild punches. It's just if he connect, he had the power to knock you out with one punch. And he got inducted. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been, but it's like between the two, the comparison I'm making, like him and like Michael Nunn, he's considered crowd pleasing because he gets the knockout. They said Michael Nunn didn't have a crowd pleasing style, which I disagree with. I like watching Michael Nunn fight, and Michael Nunn was a great fighter, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things, man. When you watch and you listen, like don't listen to fights. Don't watch a fight and let people tell you what you're watching. Okay, unless you don't know what the fuck is going on, you just don't understand boxing. Don't let them tell you what's different from what's actually really happening. I see way too much of that. And the reality is, when it comes to any contact sport where you really can get hurt, what people need to understand is mentally, a lot of times, especially like in boxing, okay? Football, nobody's trying to really punch you in your face, okay? Unless you guys get into a fight over a play that happened. Hockey, well, yeah, I mean, they fight all the time in hockey. But bottom line, that's not the sport. You don't practice fighting in hockey. You practice to play hockey. Okay, the point is with like boxing, MMA, stuff like that, the mindset that you need to have, average person wouldn't understand. That's why I say when you're in the gym, you have a whole different perspective than when you're sitting on a fucking couch talking shit, typing in insults to different fighters and people when you don't understand what's going on. That's why as a fighter, you feel a certain way about things that you hear and see fighters say and do, because you're in an opportunity that there's a lot of people that they never got that shot, and they're better than you are, or every bit as good or better, and they just never got that opportunity. But yet you guys are taking advantage of other people's ignorance, and you guys are sitting back taking shit for granted. And we know when it comes to boxing, man, I mean, that's brutal. People talk about MMA. MMA is a brutal sport as well, but at the same time, let's just think about something. The majority of MMA, for the most part, I mean, they throw kicks, punches, elbows, and all that, but for the most part, most of it is grappling. How many MMA fighters have you heard retired and they got brain damage now? Parkinson's and all, right? Not that it can't happen. You don't want to see it happen to anybody, but it's mostly the grappling, and it's minimal because really most of these guys, they really can't take punches that well, the MMA guys. So when they do get hit, for the most part, they get rocked and go down. So it's not like for 5 rounds they're just banging, banging, banging. It's a lot of grabbing and holding in the midst of that. Whereas in boxing, it's basically that's all you're taking is punches. So it's grueling, and no matter what people say in front of a camera, it takes a lot sometimes, even just to get out the bed and to be consistent. So when you love what you're doing, it makes it that much easier, because now it's like, nah, this is what I do. I look forward to it. And you heard, what Deontay Wilder said, man. And he didn't even miss boxing at all. And he broke it down. I did a video on that, and he started to explain why. And like I said, I agree with everything he said in that segment. So, yes, Anthony Dirrell, Caleb Plant. Let's see how this goes and where the winner goes from there. We have to see. We shouldn't think ahead, because in boxing, don't get your hopes up high, because the fights that you think make sense and should happen, a whole lot of times they don't. Never fall in love with lies. Remember the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all in the next video. And let me know in the comment section what y'all think about Anthony Dirrell versus Caleb Plant. Who you think is going to win this fight, and what do you think? What do you expect in this fight from them? We don't know what Anthony Dirrell has left at 38, like I said, and we don't know what improvements that Caleb would have since the Canelo fight as well. But tell me what y'all think in the comment section. Catch y'all on the next one.